I'd like to welcome you to your state capitol, the People's House. And at this time, I'd ask everyone if you would please rise for the presentation of the colors. Present the colors, please. Please remain standing. I'd like to invite Oklahoma State Senator and the Reverend George Young to come up and give us some prayer before we start.
Good morning to everyone. Not of any need of your own and just and kindness to me. Would you bow your heads and close your eyes for just a moment? Thank you, God. Yes, thank you, God, for all that you do. I thank you for the gift of work, the joy of accomplishment, the satisfaction of celebration of completion and new stars. I pray for the practice of safety, the premium of care, the point of concentration. We come to remember those working today, those who have worked to ignite us, those who will be the workers of tomorrow. We remember those who have died during the journey of work, remembering their sacrifice, remembering their families, remembering their friends. The price of work well done. Every laborer and every category of labor, we thank you in this moment and in this day. Bless and keep us forever. Amen. Amen.
Please be seated. It's my pleasure to introduce the MC for today's event, our own Oklahoma State Labor Commissioner, Leslie Osborne.
Hello, thank you all for being here today. This is the 9th year that we've had this ceremony to honor those that lost their lives on a job in Oklahoma last year. It's our pride to do this with the collaboration of great partners, the State Department of Labor, the Federal Department of Labor, the unions, and the Oklahoma Safety Council. Our firm belief is that one life lost on the job is too many. And our hope is that those numbers will diminish every year. At the State Department of Labor, we have multiple programs that go out for free to small businesses, to public sector, to cities, schools, and counties. And we hope that you all will help us spread the word that there are programs out there that are free to the public to help with safety. But today, our main objective is to make sure that we honor those that did lose their lives. It's my honor to introduce our keynote speaker for today, Mark Nelson, who is the president of the Oklahoma Fraternal Order of Police. Mark is a Master Sergeant with the Oklahoma City Police Department, and he serves as president of the Oklahoma FOP and the Oklahoma City Fraternal Order of Police. He is also chairman of both the OKFOP PAC and the OKC-FOP PAC. Mark has received multiple awards for his service as a police officer, including Life-Saving Award from the OCPD. He has been selected as FOP Executive Board Member of the Year multiple times. He was born in Monticello, Indiana, and moved to Oklahoma City in 1993. He graduated from Oklahoma Baptist University in 1999 with a degree, it's right on the mark here, and went to work for the OCPD in 2001. His proudest accomplishment, other than marrying his wife, Natisha, is adopting 2 beautiful girls, sisters, from the foster care system in May of 22. They are Mark and Natisha's only children, and he is the proud parents of these 2 girls. Please help me welcome Mark to the stage.
Good morning, Commissioner Osborne and staff. Thank you. Your commitment to Oklahomans, Oklahoma's workers and laborers, and their safety are invaluable. Absolutely, no doubt about it. I've been privileged to know you since 2011 as you served here in the legislature and have seen firsthand how you put Oklahomans first. Thank you for your service, for making it possible after several years of a virtual event of having one in person today, as it is truly important to the family, friends, and loved ones to honor the sacrifice of our lost laborers. Those family, friends, and loved ones, I hope that today you leave with a sense of peace that carries you in the days, months, and years ahead. Some of you may be dealing with something that happened more recently, and some of it may have been months and months ago. It's okay to laugh and hug and cry with each other today. I imagine that most of you here are related to someone, but if you're not related, blood relative, there's no doubt that we can acknowledge just by being Oklahomans the very value of those who we've lost. The sacrifice, loss, and value of one of our own workers and laborers in this great state should never be forgotten. I do have a background in law enforcement, as Commissioner Osborne said, meaning I've been one for 22 years. So I've got a first-hand look here in Oklahoma City at eye-opening, miraculous things. When you go to school to be, she didn't finish it because I probably got cut off on the paper, but my degree's in theology. My dad's a preacher. I did not become a preacher, but that's what I went to school for. Reverend Young, if you're still here, I apologize. But labor makes the world go round. There's no doubt about it. It's the absolute fuel of our economy's engine. Hard work and personal sacrifice have long been principles and core values of the American worker and of the Oklahoma laborer. While we're here today memorializing their loss, we should almost certainly acknowledge that it's more than just the loss of a loved one. A fiber, a piece of the very fabric of who we are as a society is gone. They're no longer with us. And as we move on with our lives and the days ahead, we will enjoy the fruits of each other's labors and of those who we've lost. And it is wholly appropriate to never, ever forget the sacrifice of those we've lost, whether it's a year from now, 10 years from now, or 50 years from now. It is always appropriate and right to hold those Oklahomans and individuals in high esteem with respect and admiration. Just briefly, as mentioned, I'm a first-generation Oklahoman. I wasn't born here, but I've been here now for 30 years. My dad's a Marine Corps veteran, turned painter, turned preacher. He married his high school sweetheart, my mom. She's a teacher for 40 years. Both of them are finishing their careers this spring. Mom is going to stop teaching. We'll celebrate that next week. And Dad is going to, well, I don't think he's going to stop preaching, but he's going to stop being a pastor because I'm sure he'll never stop preaching. I'm the second of 4 children, and hard work was instilled in us as long as I can remember. And I was thinking about some things to say today to make it personal. That's Dad's touch. It's always been, he doesn't stand up there and pontificate when he gives his message. He tries to make it very personal, and that's a value that I've tried to instill in the law enforcement work that I've done. But we're dealing with people and humans. And I thought, you know what is there anything I can remember when I was growing up that's just an example of hard work? that I was made to do. I didn't really have a choice in the matter. And my dad was a painter. And as he transitioned out of the painting business and went into the ministry, he still picked up jobs because the ministry doesn't pay a lot of money. He had bills to pay. He had 4 kids. And so one time, my brother and I, with no choice, were told to go with my dad to help him with the project of scraping and then painting a brick building. So you can guess who probably got to do the scraping. It was not my dad. But he promised us when we were done scraping that he would allow us to paint. That did not happen. We scraped and scraped for days and days on a brick building. And I was pretty mad about it afterward, honestly. But he finished the paint job and I thought, man, this is some hard work. And it was just labor. And it's a small example, a small story of, as I get older and I have a family, we have children now, if there's one thing, in addition to being a good member of society, it's being a hard worker because of the value that labor brings to our society. Where do we attain this hard work ethic? Things that I think we frequently take for granted are we get up, we go to work, we hopefully receive a decent wage, a paycheck, we take care of our families, we do it again and again and again. And I thought to myself, it's appropriate, again, as I said at the beginning, to acknowledge that hard work. And I wanted to balance my comments today with it seems like when there's a loss in law enforcement, it's a tragedy, obviously, but it's just different. Well, it's different for me personally because that's where I work and live. But I've been involved. Those of you who don't know, whenever there's any type of an industrial accident where death occurs, law enforcement gets called. And I've seen some horrific scenes, and almost always it turns to the families, the loved ones who are there to deal with that. Possibly something that could have been avoided. So I thought, I have to balance acknowledging the loss of law enforcement. I think there's 3 or 4 silhouettes here represented, corrections. I've seen Sergeant Nelson and Robert Swartz names. Those are things that stick out in my mind. But I wouldn't be surprised if one of those 2 gentlemen probably responded to an incident where one of your loved ones befell tragedy. And we're all Oklahomans at that moment. We're all Americans. We're all workers. And how we can unite and pull together and help each other through it, I think that's a testament and honestly a goal that we should strive to have, because with the advancement in healthcare, technology, and medicine, certainly these numbers are down than what they would be. We acknowledge that in law enforcement frequently. So we can celebrate that, but at the same time strive to maintain a more safe work environment and avoid tragedies and deaths for families and loved ones. We will acknowledge in Washington, D.C. in 2.5 weeks, there's a service on at the National Mall in front of Congress for fallen law enforcement officers. 3 weeks from today, we'll have that same or similar service here in Oklahoma at the Law Enforcement Memorial. This is a beautiful venue to recognize all of Oklahoma's workers. And so I want to make it very clear that there's gratitude that comes from all Oklahomans, certainly in the realm that I work in, law enforcement, for what men and women who do what you all do. I saw these tags on these silhouettes, and I'm not familiar with the oil industry completely, but different types of oil jobs where tragedies befell. Roofers, utility installers, rig workers, the list goes on. And there's no way society can function, not even remotely possible, without the hard work of each and every one of your loved ones. So as I said at the beginning, I pray each of you leave here today with a peace that endures, and that you're genuinely comforted in knowing that there are thousands and thousands of Oklahomans who acknowledge your loss, stand beside you as you grieve, and will forever remember. May God bless each one of you very deeply today.
So thank you for those words, Mark. That's certainly something that we can all kind of take to heart and take home with us and remember throughout the day as we're here. So I want to extend a welcome again on behalf of the U.S. Department of Labor for today's Worker Memorial event. And at this time, take a moment to recognize those sponsors and partners that have been a part of this event and put this event together. And there's a plaque in a couple of spots here, but to list those through those is the U.S. Department of Labor, OSHA, the Oklahoma State Department of Labor, the Oklahoma AFL-CIO, the Oklahoma Safety Council, the Oklahoma City chapter of the American Society of Safety Professionals, the Oklahoma Building and Trades Council, the Oklahoma Industrial Hygiene Association, the Oklahoma Public Employees Association, Kids Chance of Oklahoma, CompSource Mutual, the Oklahoma Highway Patrol, Nortec Air Solutions, Capital City Safety, the MSEPS, Mid-Continent Exploration and Production Safety Network, MTM Recognition, and OG&E Energy Corporation. So all of those partners have played a significant role in putting this together today, and I want you to think of those and thank those as you get a chance. Many of their members are here with us today, if you have a chance to visit with them. So at this time, I'm pleased to introduce the Deputy Assistant Secretary of OSHA, James Frederick. Mr. Frederick was able to join us last year virtually, and we are extremely honored that he is able to join us here today in person for our Worker Memorial Day event. So he has spent the last 25 years plus in Health and Safety and Environmental Department for the United Steelworkers, serving as Assistant Director, a Principal Investigator, and has been on numerous national work groups addressing health and safety for the workers in America. In 2021, Mr. Frederick was appointed as the Deputy Assistant Secretary for the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, and that's a position that he continues to hold today. If you would, please welcome Mr. James Frederick.
Good morning, and thank you, Stephen. Thank you for that, and truly thank you to the staff of OSHA that work here in Oklahoma City, making certain that workplaces are safe and healthy across the state. And also a thank you to Commissioner Osborne for the coordination of all of the work from the state of Oklahoma on all of these important issues, including worker health and safety, and also for this wonderful coordination of this wonderful event. It's truly an honor and a privilege to spend a few minutes with you today. It's an honor to be here as those of you are here to memorialize and mourn the loss of your loved one. Every year on Worker Memorial Day, April 28th, we commemorate those that we remember and we honor all working men and women who have lost their lives on the job. We mourn not only for those who lost, but also we remember those who have been left behind. We stand with the families and the co-workers and the children and the siblings of those that were lost at work. We know that each of them is an incredible person that left a hole in our family and in our society, in our community, and at our workplace. The fact is that many of these tragic losses are very much preventable. If safety standards are followed, if proper controls are in place, and if health and safety is made a top priority in that workplace. We owe it to the fallen workers and to their families, and to every person that goes to work each and every day across this nation, and to future generations to make certain that proper health and safety controls are in place, and that the systems are there to ensure safety and health in those workplaces. It's in these workers' memory that we mourn for those lost, and as Mother Jones said many years ago, fight like hell for the living, to make certain that safety and health protections are improved in each and every workplace so that others will not suffer the same fate. Yesterday in Washington, D.C., we held our National Workers' Memorial Day ceremony at the U.S. Department of Labor, and we were fortunate to be joined by a number of families of victims of workplace fatalities, both from the recent couple of years, but also from as long back as 20 years ago. And we had the chance to really spend some time and talk with those families about the impact of their loss and the energy that they have put into improving workplace health and safety at the workplace where their loved one worked, but also across all similar workplaces. We heard about their personal journeys and what Workers' Memorial Day means to them, and it's always very striking to me. I've participated in Workers' Memorial Day events for 3 decades, and it's always very striking to me to hear of those personal stories of the impact on the meaningfulness of this day for families who have lost a loved ones. Those stories reflect an everyday life. They reflect someone that has left for work and unfortunately did not come home that evening. We're also reminded of how important our work is at OSHA and all of the parts of the system that provides health and safety improvements in workplaces. And that work goes on each and every day. And I'm certainly thankful for the more than 2,000 staff of federal OSHA across the country who do indeed go to work each and every day to improve workplace health and safety. It's my honor and privilege to have spent a little bit over more than the last 2 years working with you all from OSHA. It's part of that. And although we've made great progress in the 52 years since OSHA has been in place, we've made significant progress and the number of fatalities has certainly reduced. There are still far too many. And it's important to remember, not only is this a large number of more than 5,000, as the plaque over here indicates, but each one of these people is so much more than a number of that. Each one, again, is a family member, a brother, a sister, a father, a mother, and we need to remember that as we work toward improving health and safety each and every day. Knowing that with 5,000 fatalities that took place with our most recent data from 2021, that means that every 101 minutes there's a workplace fatality somewhere across this country. And that's always a striking number to me and one that resonates with me. Each day as I start out my day, I think in terms of the number of fatalities that take place, knowing that we have so much more work to do, but also knowing that the work that is being done by OSHA, by the state of Oklahoma, and by so many health and safety professionals, worker advocates, worker health and safety people, and just folks going to do their job to make their workplace safe, to make sure those controls are in place, and to make sure the systems are there to ensure that that all continues. We also have to remember that within the number of 5,000, that some people are at greater risk of fatality. Sometimes that's because of the job they do in some of our industries that have more fatalities than others, but also it's important to recognize that sometimes it's also because of where someone has come from to do that job, the color of their skin, the language that they speak, or again, where they came from. We know that many populations are at a disproportionate increase of risk of injury and death at work. And that's one of the things at Federal OSHA we are making certain that we embed into our work to account for those variances in this information, this data, to make certain that we embed equity into all of the work that we do so that the work results in improving workplace safety for those populations that are at greater risk. From the very first day that a worker shows up to work and is on that job, they are entitled to a safe and healthful workplace that's free of hazards. A safe workplace is not a privilege, it's every worker's right. And again, I mean every worker. It's essential that all workers have the training and the protections that they need to be safe at work. And we must do everything in our power to make certain that they receive those, that training and those items that they need to do their work safely. And so again, this is why we at OSHA are working diligently to improve workplace health and safety in all workplaces across this country. We're taking actions to lessen some of those factors that make working conditions more hazardous for some workers than others. And we're building relationships that we have had in place and building new relationships with organizations that represent workers and help to build trust with those groups so that they're more free to come to us and ask for the help that they need to make their workplaces safe. At our OSHA, our mission is to ensure that all workers in every industry can stay safe and healthy on the job. No worker should have to put their paycheck ahead of safety. We also have to make sure that every worker knows about their rights and feels empowered to raise concerns when they believe that there's an unsafe condition in their workplace. And that's why we're also working diligently to strengthen our whistleblower protection program so that workers can be actively engaged and participants in their own health and safety without fear of retaliation at work. Every voice must be heard and deserves to be heard. Workers have the most to say. They know their jobs, and they know what it takes for that job to be done safely. Workers want to do the job well, and they want to also do it safely. What they really want to do is at the end of their shift to go home and enjoy some time with their family and their friends in their community. When workers understand these rights and they use their rights without fear, workplace fatalities, injuries, and illnesses can and will be prevented. On this Workers' Memorial Day, let's all remember that every worker is much, much more than a number. They were Dustin Galen, Russell Mann, and Billy Smith, who are just a few of the Oklahomans who lost their lives by simply going to work and who we honor here today. We dedicate our work at OSHA to their memory and to thousands of others who we have lost. And we commit at the agency to do everything that we can to make sure that employers are doing their job so that workers can do their job safely. So today and every day, let's work together to do all that we can to ensure that every worker gets the protections that they need and deserve. With that, I thank you, and I'll turn it back over.
At this time, we will have the reading of the names of those that lost their lives on the job in Oklahoma this year. If they would come forward, Don Schooler, the General Counsel and Chief of Staff at the Oklahoma Department of Labor, and Megan Christie, the Assistant Area Director at the Federal Department of Labor.
Welcome, family, friends, and loved ones. I just want to remind you, as your loved one's name is called, please stand and we will bring you a yellow rose.
Chad Arrington.
Joseph Wayne Behrens.
Clarence Bond.
Tanya Sue Brand.
James Wade Bruce.
Alejandro Campos.
Trayson Cruz.
Brady Duncan.
Teresa Estrada.
William Riley Hargraves.
Alan Hirschberger.
Gregory Hughes.
Matt Koff.
Manuel Lopez. Christopher James Nelson. Jerry Pollard.
Jason Smith.
Tanner Snyder.
Jacob States.
Robert Blaine Swartz.
Emilio Varela.
If everyone could please stand and light your candles. I would like to introduce John with the Oklahoma Fire Pipe and Drum to play Amazing Grace. At this time, I'd like everyone to join me in a moment of silence for the people that lost their lives on the job in Oklahoma this year.
closing, I'd like to thank our partners that made today possible. I'd like to thank the families that are in attendance, that have a hole in their lives that may never be filled, but hopefully with God's grace, you can find some comfort. And going forward, I hope we can all remember in a very divisive and polarized world that we're living in now, to look out for your fellow man, your fellow employee, your fellow citizen, and perhaps be a bit kinder, gentler, more compassionate and simple. You're adjourned.